What was your best "you're speaking to the manager right now" moment? Friend of mine. She was getting chewed out over something or other. Finally the woman loudly demanded to see the manager. So she shrugged and got the manager. Manager comes out all confused. Angry woman demands my friend get fired. Manager is very confused, but mom, I can't do that. She is the owner. This is one of my favorites. Short and sweet. I can see your friend just kinda throw her hands. Welp, I'll get the manager. Customer was getting all bitchy about a coupon. Cashier called me over. Normally, I'd just let it slide and accept the coupon. But then she had the audacity to insult my cashier, claiming she was incompetent. So I denied it. Cause frick this lady. She got all pissy, demanded to talk to the manager. Sorry, the manager left for the day, but the supervisor is here. Well then, I want to speak to your supervisor. She hissed. I am the supervisor, I said firmly. This coupon is not valid. Fine. She huffed and left her stuff at the counter, muttering about never shopping there again. Cashier was a bit shaken up, but I'm not very good at consoling, so I just said, frick her, we don't need her. No, that's a good response. I'd be cheered up at that. A salesman walks into the reception area where I happen to be. I ask him if I can help him and he barely acknowledges my existence. A few more attempts and he says wants to talk to someone more senior. At that moment one of the staff enters, who is older than me. The salesman immediately tries to flag him down and asks to speak to someone in charge. He points at me and says, well, the owner is standing right there. I own the building that the company I'm part owner in operates out of. It's in a nice office park with about a dozen other similarly sized standalone office buildings. We have a dumpster that gets emptied twice a week that sits behind on the side of our building that has a nice fence around it. The way it sits, the parking lot of another building is close to it. I'm ripping out carpet at my house and each night run by work and dispose some of it. We're not running production that week, so there's nothing in the dumpster. On the third and last night before trash comes the next day, I notice a guy smoking by his car at the other office. As I'm getting ready to leave, a car comes screeching up the side drive, puts his brights on and yells at me to stay where I am. I pause and it's the same guy and starts yelling at me that he's calling the cops. He saw me dumping trash into the dumpster. I asked him what he cares and he said he's on special patrol for this company, the one I'm an owner of, and would be in charge of hiring anyone as it is, and I'm in violation and need to remain there. I asked him who he talked to and he said I don't know his last name, but his name is Fred. We have never had a Fred work there. So he's blocking my exit and I start hearing a siren. This guy says something like, here they come now, you're screwed. So I just sit there another minute. In rolls a county brownie with his lights on. He comes strolling up and then says, hey one-eyed monster, what's up? I said, hey Andy, I'm not sure, but this guy here is trespassing on my property. His face at this point gets sheet white. No, I didn't press charges even if you could, but I didn't see him around again. I don't know if he was confused, mentally challenged. He sure seemed to have a short fuse. Officer Andy did take his info, though I think more to scare the guy than anything else. The fact that you knew the officer really takes this to the next level. 10 years ago I was a retail manager for Bath and Body Works. One day during holiday a customer began going off on one of my seasonal employees, like psychotically screaming at her because we were out of peppermint twist body lotion. I walked up and asked the girl to go cover registers and that I would talk to the customer. Customer began yelling at me. After another 5 minutes of insisting it was in the back. Her, I want to speak to your manager. Me, miss, I am the manager on duty. This is a popular item. We have none in the back. None of our other stores in the area have any more. You are welcome to look online, but I doubt it is there any more either. Have a lovely day. She turned purple and asked for our customer service number to complain. It was the 24th of December. Back when I was in the Air Force there was a base picnic. I was put on the crew to get things set up. This task was finished, and we were just standing around bullshitting waiting for people to show up. A young looking guy, turns out he was in his 40s, but legitimately looked 25, walks up and starts talking to us. He introduced himself as the new operations group commander, and was a colonel select. He literally arrived on base that very morning, and heard about the picnic. A couple minutes later, our boss, a major, shows up and walks over to us. He said, hey guys, I think the new OG might be here today. Be on your best behavior because I heard he's a real butthole. We all stared at him in horror. The OG just smiled, stuck out his hand and said, "Hi, I'm the butthole, but you can call me Colonel." Are the dreaded moments where you can't tell if a young face is actually new or just a youthful looking, highly ranked officer. I always joke that they need to have their ranks floating above their heads like an morgue. Last year, I was working as the manager of a coffee kiosk, let's call it Starbucks, inside a store in a national grocery chain. It's literally my last day on the job, so I am completely out of shoots to give. My direct supervisor loved me, so my references are set and I'm just throwing caution to the wind. You smiled at me, frick it. Have a free drink. Your children are well behaved. Free pastries. Who cares? And then, drink B comes in an hour before I clock out. This insufferable pain in the butt orders her drink, then has me remake it, and I'm not exaggerating here, 4 times. Finally, she says, "Well, it's not quite right, but I'm in a hurry. I want a refund." Y'all, I made that drink perfectly all 4 times. She's just trying to scam us. I look her dead in the eyes and inform her that we don't give refunds when drinks are made correctly. She storms out in a huff and about 45 minutes later, I get a phone call. "I was in your store earlier today and your barista was rude to me." Well, Mom, we have several baristas working today. Can you describe them? Bearded man with a shaved head. Mom, that would be me. And I'm sorry you thought me not tolerating your scam was rude. I want to speak to the manager. B, I am the manager, and I hung up on her. To this day, I have no idea what she did after that or who she yelled at, but I completely don't care. That 30-second interaction made the entire job worth it. Let's call it Starfucks gave me my first good Ellie laugh of the day. Thank you. When I was 19, I was promoted to manager of the front of the house in this little seafood place I'd been working at since I was about 15. On the bar manager's days off, I'd be the only manager there. This woman used to come in and order the clam chowder about once a week, eat it all, and then claim it was made differently than the last time and demand that it be calmed. For some reason the previous manager always just did it, but it annoyed me that she was being rewarded for being dishonest since we had the same recipe and followed it exactly since the place had opened. I was just waiting for her butt to try it on me and finally, she did. I was the only manager there that day and sure enough one of the waitresses said she needed a comp for a table and there was the cheapest. I went over there and she told me last time you had all kinds of vegetables in this chowder. I'm not paying for it, bahahaha. I was like, Mom, we've been making that chowder the same way since the place opened and you know it as well as I do. So you can either pay for it like a decent person, or I can comp it and you are not welcome here ever again. Cue her demanding to see the manager. I nearly burst out in an evil villain style cackle when I informed her that she was looking at the manager. She tried to argue for a couple minutes and then finally gave up. Paid, and never came back. Paid, and never came back. Wait, that was not an option. A friend of mine will occasionally walk into the back of the store when asked to speak to a manager, then walk right back up to them and ask how he can help. He should change hats and insist he is a different person. Got contacted by a recruiter for a job in my own team that I was the hiring manager for. I told him that the job spec looked quite familiar as I had written it. What a useless recruiter. 2. I have one of these. Used to be a department supervisor for a library. Basically this meant I was third from the top in the system according to the org chart. And if my manager was gone then I was in charge of the building. One day a lady is in our department complaining about some bit of policy. Can't remember what, but think an entitled suburban mom getting mad we won't bend policy for her. She finally demands to talk to my supervisor when I won't budge. I smile, tell her that's fine. Turn as though I'm going to get someone, but do a full twirl instead and hold out my hand. She looks at me like I'm nuts and I introduce myself as the supervisor and heard she had a problem. The lady storms off to the front desk. A few minutes later one of the workers there comes back with this lady, explains that she had a problem and wanted to talk to the person in charge. Which was me that day because my boss was out. The look on her face when the front desk worker pulled her into the office to talk to the person in charge and I was sitting there grinning was delicious. I explained that we still wouldn't be changing our system policy just for her. Have a nice day. Only time I've ever been able to do that. but it was fun. Not the manager, but a woman called the store I, 20 years old at the time, worked at, and I answered the phone. Me, store name, Ravensray speaking. Her, I need to speak to an adult. Me, hold on, let me grab one. Hello, Ravensray speaking. She was not amused, but my manager was. This is the sass that I enjoy seeing. I did this but in person at my old job. The customer asked for an adult to take his order. I walked around the corner and came back repeating my greeting that I do with all customers. I look 15 but I'm 19. Having a baby face sucks sometimes. My manager was from Jamaica. This is important, and was helping me get my cash register monitor working again. This lady comes up and waits a good 5 minutes even after we told her we were trying to fix the machine. I wasn't the only cashier open, but the other lady was older and a little slower. She starts getting really upset and he told her to calm down and wait a few more minutes, in his strong accent. She yells, "Okay, I wanna talk to her manager because I can't talk to someone who hardly speaks English." His English was perfect but he just had an accent. He then looks at her and says, "I am the manager, mom," in the most monotone voice ever. And she says, "Oh my god, I'm never coming back here," in the most pee-off tone ever. Not the best story but was still funny. I had similar in a call center. Customer complained that the last time she called she was sent to India. I look at her account. She last talked to my manager, who was born in India and has an Indian name but has lived here long enough to almost have a local accent. Maybe too late. Here it goes. I worked as a resident director, aka the boss of the building for my university. Despite being in my 20s, I looked barely out of high school. Move-in day for all the freshmen. The usual stuff happens. Crying parents and students. People trying to move in items that are not allowed. General crazy day, nothing unusual yet. Cue to a mom with the typical "can I speak to your manager" body language and haircut. She walks up to my staff member and demands another room for her child. The mom yells, insults my staff. Finally she is screaming for a manager. I walk up and introduce myself and ask for her to tell me what's going on. The mom cannot believe her eyes. Me. This young man was the manager. She insisted on getting the real manager. I pull out my wallet and give her my card with my name and title clearly printed and informed her that I was the real manager. She continued to huff and puff until she ran out of steam. Hours later I get knock on my door and it is the mom. She apologized for her behavior and explained it was stressful moving their child away from home. Emotions got the best of her and thanked me for treating her with respect despite her not showing the same. Reddit and loving misspelled words and stuff. AWW, I like this ending. I was invited to a birthday party at a remote acquaintance's place. She introduced me to her husband and tried to start a conversation by "you two work in the same field," so the husband started to talk about his work, while I asked polite questions. Then he started to badmouth about a competitor of the place he worked at. He would claim there was something shady about the company, how they would scam customers and cannot be trusted. First I asked where he got his apparent insider knowledge from. When he couldn't name a source I looked at him and said, "No problem buddy, just take the opportunity to ask anything you'd like to fact check, as you are currently talking to the owner of the company." The conversations around us literally stopped, and a very awkward silence followed, which I ended by politely saying goodbye. I used to manage a vape shop. We would get unruly customers all the time. Lots of cheap buttholes. This one guy comes in looking for a new tank. I show him our 3 most popular tanks. Too expensive. He then points at S tank on my discount wall. The tank was a first generation and it's about 4 years old, so I was very upfront with him. "Yes sir, it is a cheap tank, but I will let you know it's not a very good tank. It's one of the first tanks in the industry and is not great." He insisted on buying it, so I sold it to him. "And I'll let him know, alrighty sir. Just be aware that we do not allow returns on tanks. So if you don't like it, we can't take it back." Q3 days down the road, he comes back bitching and moaning that I sold him a bunk tank. I said, "Yes sir, I did, but I told you it was a bad tank and you still opted to buy it, against my warnings. I told you we won't take it back." He threw a massive fit and insisted on speaking to the manager, and this was after insulting me and cussing at me multiple times. I smiled and said okay and walked back to the office. Then I came back out and said I heard you needed a manager. Ooh, he was P. Give me a different manager. Sir, I am the only manager. Please leave my store. You are no longer welcome here. There was other managers, a district manager and a regional manager. But I had full autonomy in these matters and they'd be P if I had bothered them with this crap. His final words were, "You haven't seen the last of me." I responded, "That's okay. The police station is about 400 yards down the street. If I see you here again, they will be called." And he just angrily stormed out, never to be seen again. Sorry bro. I straight up told you not to buy that tank. You insisted because you're a cheap butt. You haven't seen the last of me. Narrator. It was the last he was see of. I took over as the head cross-country track coach for a high school when I was pretty young. Honestly, it was mostly the kids' hard work, but I earned a little bit of a name for myself since the team started doing extremely well after I took over. So much so that being affiliated with the team as a coach would be a solid resume boost. This 40-ish-year-old guy came in to interview for an assistant coaching position. I guess he was expecting someone older because when I sat down with him in the conference room he shot me a nasty look and goes, "Oh, I was hoping to talk to the real coach." The stories of interviewees talking down to their interviewer never cease to amaze me. That's the person who is evaluating your fit. I got a parking ticket a few months ago. When I was waiting in line to pay it, I started talking to the lady next to me. Apparently she just got fined under a new ordinance for keeping her work van parked in the street for a month. She was ranting and raving about how the city has become Nazi Germany because of laws like this. Those city councilors are bastards. How dare they? I quietly listened and nodded. Well, I'm on the city council and I helped write that ordinance. We have it in place because people like her keep their cars in front of people's driveways and make it impossible for them to pull out in the morning. When I went to the cashier and was greeted with "Good morning, Councilor," her jaw nearly dropped. I can't even imagine this. If I went to leave for work and there was a vehicle parked in front of my driveway, I'd probably start doing physical damage to it. Just a fine seems like they got off easy. Not exactly what you asked, but when I was a kid, late 1980s, my family took a trip to Washington, D.C. We were in a crowded elevator, don't remember where, and a lieutenant forced the doors open as they were shutting. He ordered everyone off the elevator for the one-star general standing behind him. Before anyone responded, a voice from the back simply said, quietly but firmly, "Number," and then the shortest officer I've ever seen stepped forward. He ignored the lieutenant and calmly told the one-star general to wait for the next one. Which he did, because that short sumbitch had 2 stars. I'm imagining Cotton Hill as the short general. I run a support service for people without a lawyer. My clients, for the most part, are incredibly grateful and brave people. They are faced with navigating incredibly difficult legal processes alone. I respect each of them for the difficulties that they have to endure. Our service is limited in that we cannot provide legal advice. That will be important later. But some people just want the world to bend over backwards for their every whim. I had one client who was demanding that the court provide her with transport on the day of her hearing, over 100 miles. Whilst I knew this was not at all possible, I went out of my way to go and speak to the relevant people to try and make it happen. I informed her that sorry, no, the court can't provide that for you, and I can't make it happen as I don't work for the court. Furthermore, I wasn't able to answer her questions as she was asking me to provide her with legal advice. She became increasingly aggressive and was accusing me of obstructing justice for her, and for discrimination due to her not being British, and B, due to her disability. I remained calm as always, and tried to just make it clear that she was asking me to do things that I literally could not do. It came to a head when I became quite firm and told her that I couldn't do anything for her, and that I was going to have to put the phone down and get on with my other tasks. She goes silent, and then, in a curt voice, says those magic words, "Can I speak to the manager please?" The smile on my face spread. I am the manager. Euphoric. P.S. Honestly, I wanted to help her, even though she was being awful to me. Many of my difficult clients are incredibly stressed out, and the cuts to legal aid in the UK mean that so many vulnerable people are left to fend for themselves in the legal jungle. But there really comes a point where you can't let yourself be the sponge for other people's negativity, and you just have to put your foot down and take no crap. Not sure if this quite counts. It's more of a I don't have a supervisor moment. When I was a bright young new airman and the use if I had terrible bosses. We had flight chiefs who are like a department manager in a store, but also a direct supervisor who's supposed to mentor you and evaluate you. My first supervisor royally fricked up my evaluation by mixing up my paperwork with another guy's. Then he changed flights and stopped being my supervisor. No one thought to get me a new supervisor. For 4 months, I was what's referred to as an orphan airman. Well, due to the paperwork mix-up I got called into the flight chief's office and royally chewed out for being 2 months behind on my training. They asked me who my supervisor was. All I could say was just I don't have one. They looked dumbfounded by their own ignorance for a moment, then chewed me out and called in the guy who literally just arrived on base. Like the dude was still carrying his bags. Told him he was my new supervisor and that he'd be going into a meeting with the commander to explain why I was behind on my training. Basically getting and boss chewing and nothing else. Luckily in said meeting our commander and his chief had the proper paperwork and realized the mix up. They called out my flight chiefs for their bulls, their lack of oversight, which led to another airman getting an award with my paperwork, and told my supervisor he was free to leave so they could chew out the flight chiefs further. He walked into the office and thanked me for not being a crap bag and told me what happened. I used to be a cell phone tech in a retail store. We weren't employed by the main company. We were contracted through another company, so our manager hierarchy was separate. I was the only tech on one night, which made me the acting tech manager. I am a woman. A guy came in and was immediately belligerent wanting his phone fixed. Came up to the tech counter. The conversation went something like this. Me. How can I help you? Him. My phone is broken, I need to talk to the technician. Me. I'm the technician. What's wrong with your phone? Him. No. I need to talk to the tech out back. Me. I'm the only technician on tonight. Him. No. I mean the guy in the back who fixes the phones. Me. I am the guy out back who fixes the phones. Him. Why won't you let me talk to the real technician? You can't fix this. Me. Opened the window to the back to show him it's empty. I'm the only technician here tonight. What's going on with your phone? Him. You're being very rude right now. I want to talk to your manager. Me. My manager is not in right now. I'm the acting technical support manager. How can I help you? Him. I need to speak to someone above you right now. Me. There's nobody above me available right now. You'll have to wait until tomorrow during daytime hours. Him. I don't have time for that. I work for a living. Me. So do I. As a technician. Him. I'm not leaving until I talk to someone. Me. I can get the store manager for you. Him. Yes. Go get him. He will take care of me. How freaking stupid can you get? That's what I've wanted. Me. Okay. I will go get the store manager. I did. She was also a woman. Him. Who's this? I wanted the store manager. Manager. I am the store manager, sir. Him. She won't let me talk to the technician. Pointing at me. Manager. She is the technician, sir. Him. Well, she can't fix my phone. Manager. To me. Could we not fix his phone? Me. He wouldn't tell me what's wrong with it. I don't know yet if we can fix it or not. Manager. To him. What's wrong with the phone? Him. Defeated at this point. It's not sending texts. It's defective. I need a new one. Manager. To me. Can we fix that? Me. Yes. It's a known issue with that model. It just needs a software update. Should only take about 10-20 minutes. Him. Yeah. Like software is going to do that. Me. Will you let me try it? Him. Okay. Fine. Try it. But when it doesn't work, I want a new phone. Me. Updated the software. It worked okay. It's been updated successfully and I backed up your contacts and photos so they're all still there. I tested the texting and it's working now. Is there anything else I can help you with? Him. Took you long enough. And you're very rude. Me. Okay. I used to work at an ice cream shop and on a night when we were short-staffed, worked the line scooping ice cream with my team. I was helping two women who were kinda standoffish and I was doing my best to make conversation and be friendly, but it was a little awkward. I had my customer service smile plastered to my face. and I knew I was a bit much but wanted to try and keep the energy up for my team. I got their scoops and sent them down to the register to pay and then was pulled to the back to handle a question from my team. As soon as I get to the back, the person on the register said there is someone who wants to speak to you. Knowing we were short staffed, I took a deep breath because it was going to be someone complaining about the wait or something like that. I walk out and it's the 2 women I just served. Oh. They look at me and say, "You're the manager." I put on my biggest customer service smile and say, "Yes. I'm so sorry, is there something I can help you with?" "Oh well, this seems silly but we really wanted to commend you for being so bright and cheery. When we were waiting in line we saw you being so friendly with everyone. So thanks." It was super awkward. So I laughed and thanked them and stood there awkwardly giggling, smiling because I don't know what the frick else to do until they walked away. I went back in the back and did dishes or something because I couldn't handle talking to people for at least 10 minutes. It was a roller coaster of emotion. I feel this so hard. Sometimes I answer the phone at my job, restaurant host, so bright and so over the top, and sometimes people meet me at my level and it's fun to just be super chatty and excitable. It's exhausting. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.